Dishwasher takes a stand. The bikers never saw her knife skills coming. It was a humid Thursday evening at the Iron Ladle, a rundown diner off Highway 16, known mostly for cheap coffee and decent pie. The fluorescent lights flickered, casting a sickly glow over cracked vinyl booths and laminated menus sticky with syrup. Business was slow. At the back of the kitchen, where grease clung to every surface, 29-year-old Ellie Torres scraped dried egg from a skillet and loaded it into the industrial washer. Ellie wasn't just the dishwasher. She was also the busser, backup cook, and unofficial repair technician. Quiet and wiry, she had an efficient rhythm: scrub, rinse, stack. Her movements sharp and precise, like a machine programmed for survival. No one really talked to Ellie, and that's how she liked it. Until the door swung open, and they arrived. The Iron Vultures, a local biker gang with a bad reputation and worse hygiene, stormed into the diner with the subtlety of a train wreck. 6 of them, clad in leather vests and road dust, took over the center of the diner like they owned the place. The leader, a thick-necked brute called Bruno, slapped the table so hard the salt shaker jumped. "Hey, we're hungry, sweetheart," he barked at Shannon, the waitress, who flinched. "And don't take all night." From her station behind the sink, Ellie heard everything. The taunts, the crude jokes, the way one of them tripped a teenager carrying a tray just to laugh when the kid hit the floor. Her knuckles turned white around a chef's knife she'd been drying. She kept working, saying nothing, until one of them decided to push it further. Bruno swaggered to the kitchen's open window, leaned in, and bellowed, "Hey, dishwasher, you hiding back there? Got any soap for my boys to wash off all this testosterone?" Laughter, a cruel, grating kind that stuck in Ellie's ears like nails on metal. Then came the real mistake. One of the bikers, a wiry man with a snake tattoo wrapping around his neck, ducked under the counter and entered the kitchen. "Let's see who's scrubbing our plates. Bet she ain't even 5 feet tall." Before he could finish, Ellie was in front of him, standing calm and silent. "You lost?" she asked, voice low, controlled. Snakeneck grinned and stepped closer. "Look at this. Dishwasher thinks she's scary. What are you gonna do? Throw soap at me?" Ellie didn't blink. With one fluid motion, she grabbed a carving knife off the magnet rack. Her fingers spun at once in her hand, then twice. The blade became an extension of her arm, controlled, deliberate. Snakeneck froze. The way she moved, it wasn't for show. It was training. Bruno laughed. "What? You some kind of ninja?" "Not a ninja," Ellie said, stepping forward, blade gleaming in the kitchen light. "Just used to cutting things under pressure." Another step. "Close now." Snakeneck reached for something, maybe a knife of his own, but Ellie's hand moved first. The tip of her blade kissed the underside of his wrist, light as air but firm enough to draw a pinpoint of blood. "Next move decides everything," she said. Snakeneck froze, eyes wide. Bruno rose, knocking over a chair. "Back off, lady. You're messing with the wrong," but Ellie was already moving. She sidestepped Snakeneck, swept a sauce bot from the counter, and hurled it at another biker trying to come in through the back kitchen door. It hit him square in the gut with a clang, doubling him over. 2 down. Bruno charged, bull-like, but Ellie ducked low and slashed upward, not with the blade, but the butt of the handle, right into his jaw. His head snapped back, and he fell hard against the fryer. Shannon screamed. The teenager who'd been tripped earlier hid under a booth. Ellie stood tall, her eyes locked on the remaining 3 bikers, hesitant now. Their swagger was gone, replaced by something else. "Fear. Out," Ellie said. "Now." One of them growled, "You're gonna regret this." Ellie tossed a second knife into her other hand. Her stance wasn't that of a kitchen worker anymore. It was the stance of someone who had drilled these motions under duress, who had lived through far worse than greasy plates and mouthy bikers. "I've already lived through worse," she said flatly, "and I don't regret standing up." The rest of the gang backed off, dragging their injured with them. Bruno, his lips split and ego shattered, stared back at Ellie like he'd seen a ghost. "You'll see us again," he warned. Ellie simply replied, "Bring napkins. You'll be bleeding again." After the police came and statements were made, Shannon pulled Ellie aside. "You could have been killed," she said wide-eyed. "Where'd you learn to do that?" Ellie hesitated, then gave a half-smile. "Used to be a culinary instructor. Before that, Army mess hall. Afghanistan." Shannon blinked. "So you're like combat trained?" "I know my way around a knife," Ellie said, drying her hands. She returned to her station, turned on the washer, and went back to cleaning. The rhythm returned. Scrub, rinse, stack. But now, the entire diner looked at her differently. Ellie hadn't just washed dishes tonight. She'd washed away fear. 3 days had passed since Ellie Torres sent the iron vultures limping out of the iron ladle. Word spread fast in a town as small and dusty as Dunlow. Some folks called her a hero. Others kept their distance, unnerved by the precision with which she'd handled the knives and the bikers. Ellie didn't care. She kept her head down, doing double shifts to cover for Shannon, who had taken the weekend off. It was quieter now. Customers were more polite. Even old Frank, the grumpy fry cook, started saying, please. But trouble doesn't just vanish. Not in Dunlow. On Monday night, around closing time, Ellie felt it before she saw it, the low growl of engines. Not one. Several. She glanced out the small kitchen window and saw them lining up across the parking lot. 8 this time. They were back. Bruno stood in front, a swollen bruise still dark on his chin. He wasn't laughing this time. Ellie didn't panic. She prepped. Without a word, she unrolled her personal knife roll under the counter. 6 blades, each one razor-sharp. She tucked the chef's knife at her hip, the paring knife in her sleeve. The boning knife, her favorite, she palmed with care. They came through the front door with hard eyes and heavier boots. This wasn't a show. It was revenge. Bruno grinned coldly. You made us look weak, Dishwasher. You are weak, Ellie replied, not raising her voice. You just don't like being reminded. A bigger man stepped forward, new muscle. Face like a slab of cement, arms covered in prison ink. Let's take this outside, he growled. No, said a voice behind Ellie. Everyone turned. From the back booth, an older woman stood up, pulling back the hood of her gray sweatshirt. Her eyes were sharp, her shoulders squared. Retired Master Sergeant Donna Mays. No one knew she'd even been in town. You come in here looking for a fight, Donna said, stepping beside Ellie. You're not leaving on your feet. Bruno laughed. What, now the waitstaff's got backup? Ellie gave Donna a small nod. You followed me here? I was 2 booths over last time. Figured I'd stick around. You've got form, Torres. You too, Sergeant. Bruno had heard enough. That's it, take him. 2 men lunged forward. Ellie stepped sideways, swept the first biker's knee with a mop handle, and jabbed her elbow into his sternum. He dropped like a stone. Donna didn't even flinch. She threw one biker into the pie case. Glass shattered. Cherry filling exploded across the floor. Bruno charged Ellie again. This time, she didn't dodge. She drew her boning knife mid-stride and slashed across his forearm. Clean, fast, shallow. A warning. He screamed. You psycho. No. Ellie said, eyes cold. Just trained. Outside, more bikes rolled in. Reinforcements. But then a headlights flashed. A pickup truck skidded into the parking lot. Then another. Out stepped 2 more women. Karen Switchblade Park, ex-Marine cook-turned-long-haul trucker. And Jada Knox, former Air Force security. Ellie blinked. How did they know? Donna smirked. I might have posted something on the Veteran Sisters Network. Bruno and what was left of the Iron Vultures now found themselves surrounded. Not by scared locals, but by women with combat history, calloused hands, and no patience for bullies. Jada cocked her head. So, you'll want to try bullying dishwashers again. The last biker turned and ran. The rest followed. Bruno was the last to leave, bleeding pride and forearm alike. You'll regret this. Ellie wiped her blade clean. You've said that before. You just keep regretting it. Later that night, after the mess was cleaned and the adrenaline wore off, Ellie sat at the counter with Donna, Karen, and Jada. The coffee was burnt, but the laughter was real. I didn't think I'd find backup in a diner, Ellie said. Donna raised her mug. Doesn't matter where we are. Doesn't matter what the uniform is. Once a warrior, always a warrior. Ellie nodded. In a world that overlooked dishwashers, cooks, and waitresses, they had made something clear. They weren't just women with jobs. They were women with history. And nobody, especially not the Iron Vultures, would ever forget that again.